Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I edit backlit golden hour images. Let's get started. So for today I'm going to specifically talk to you about how to restore contrast to your image and how to color grade. First off, as you can see, the photo how it looks right now is very washed out. I was shooting directly into the sun. I'm using the Canon 85mm 1.8 lens. This is an older lens of Canon's, so the resistance against flaring isn't as good as modern day 85mm. So as you can see, there's a giant loss of contrast. She's very washed out, and the goal here is to restore that. So to start off, we're going to use Camera Raw to make adjustments before we do the rest of them in Photoshop. So to start off, I'm going to make the image a little bit warmer. Add a little bit of red. I'm going to add contrast. Reduce the highlights. And then I'm going to add a little black. Dehaze it a little bit. And finally, I'm going to add a little bit of saturation. Okay, so let's see what that did. Okay, there's our before and after. As you can see, this already helped to restore the image a little bit. However, we're going to open the image and we're going to play around with it even more. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is I like to make a duplicate layer of the background layer. Now the next thing I like to do is I like to play around with curves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple of adjustments on the line. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this down a little bit. And then I'm going to bring the blacks up. Right about there. Okay. So that brought a lot of the detail back in her face, and it brought the contrast up. She isn't so washed out as before. Okay, cool. So the next thing I'm going to do is, before I do any color grading or any color adjustments, I'm going to do my skin retouch. Now, because this video focuses specifically on contrast adjustment and color grading, I'm going to fast forward this. If you guys are interested to know how I skin retouch my photos, I will leave a link in the description of the techniques that I learned. But for now, I'm going to fast forward this section of the video. Okay, that's it for the skin retouch. So the next thing I'm going to do is just delete this black and white layer. So the next thing I'm going to do before I edit the colors is I'm going to do more dodge and burn to the entire photo. So what I like to do is I like to add a little bit of a vignette to the corners. And then add a little bit of brightness to the areas that are already bright. Up here where the sun is, and over here where there's highlighting, a little bit on the flowers, a little bit on the greenery, down here where the lens flare is. And then I'm going to add a little bit on her dress. Okay. So what that did was just adds a little bit more dimension to the photo. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start the color grading. And the first thing I like to do is color correct the skin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some reds into the skin, about there, and I'm going to add a little bit of yellow, and I'm going to darken the skin a little bit, just darken the reds. I'm going to mask this out so it only affects her skin. And I'm going to show you what that did. It just helps to add more color into her skin and just make it more vibrant. That looks good. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a little bit more red into her dress. Again, make another adjustment layer. And that's what that did. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is the greenery. Now this is the technique that I use on all of my photos. So the first thing that I do is I'm going to just add a bit of green, a little bit of blue, a little bit of cyan, and then I'm going to make another adjustment and just color that in where the greenery is. Okay, so that's what that did. The next thing I'm going to do to even make the green even more vibrant is I'm going to use selective color and just going to play around and just make the green stand out. This was a image that was taken during golden hour, so I want everything to look very poppy and very vibrant. Okay, again, we're just going to add that only to the greenery. I actually want this a bit more green, so I'm going to go in and back it to the color balance, so just add a bit more of that green into there. So this is what we have so far. Now I'm just gonna play with the colors of the flowers a little bit. Just make them pop a bit more. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of yellow into the image, just to again emphasize that warm feeling that you get during golden hour. Again, all these adjustments are very small, but it's very important to pay attention to the details when it comes to images like this where you want a more dreamy feel. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm just going to add a bit more of red to get that amber highlight in her hair. Okay, so finally we're just going to do some small adjustments that just help make the photo pop even more. I'm going to go to select a color, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the whites, and I'm just going to add some highlights, and what this does is it just helps bring out the highlights in her skin. Okay, so that's what that did. Might just lower that a little bit on the opacity. Okay, that looks good. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add more contrast to the photo, just to make it pop even more. Okay, 20 looks good. This is our before and after. Okay, so we're almost done. The last thing I like to do is I like to just add a sharpening layer. If you put your photos on Instagram or on the internet, you know that there's compression where you lose detail, so this just helps to retain that. So I'm going to go to high pass. Going to keep it at 6. And as you can see here, it just adds more detail back into the image. Okay, so I'm going to reduce that to about 60. And again, this is what it does. It just sharpens the image and just helps preserve that detail when you post it online. So this is the full before and after. Awesome. So that's how I retouch my golden hour images. These are techniques that I usually use for all my photos. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this. If you have any questions on how I retouch, I will answer them in the comments below. I will leave the links I mentioned before about how I do skin retouch in the description also. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I have more videos of behind the scenes coming up soon on my channel, so stay tuned for that. And as always, everyone out there, stay safe and healthy. My name is Raphael, and I'll see you next time. Bye.